Greetings and welcome to the Ripple Effect. I am Selena. So today's topic is about choices. I talked in my video yesterday about the two most important choices that you need to make in your life. One being deciding to be a believer of Jesus Christ, the Son, God the Father, and the Holy Spirit, the Trinity, becoming a believer. And the second most important decision or choice that you will make is choosing a life partner, someone that you would be in covenant, because I'm speaking about marriage, that you will be in covenant with. That's the most important choice that you can make. And I have heard women say, well, I don't have a choice. Well, I didn't have a choice, especially some of us who are single mothers. They will say, well, I didn't have a choice. Now, understand this, okay? Outside of special circumstances, where you really did not have a choice, and I won't go into detail with that, use inference as to a woman who would not have a choice with deciding to participate in the act of conception of a child. So for those of us who did participate willingly, you liked him, he liked you, and then next thing you know, now you have conceived a child. There you have a choice. And I'm encouraging you single mothers to be careful who you choose to procreate with. Because there are some of us who are mad, who are upset because we got to keep going to child support court. You're upset. And then there are some who don't even go to child support court. Refuse. Just refuse. You struggle alone. And there are people who are going to be on both sides of the fence. I personally am an advocate for child support. I am. Because if I'm financially responsible, it's your fiduciary responsibility as well. Don't let it just be mine. We were in this together at one point, weren't we? And so I'm encouraging you ladies, like, if you're going to make that choice, because when I talked about earlier in the other videos about being outside of God's will, because premarital sex is outside of God's will, you're not in covenant. And if you're not going to protect yourself and allow him not to protect himself, because, okay, I'm just going to break it down. And I hope not to get too graphic, okay? But if no one has ever educated you and told you this, single mother, women are the receivers. Okay? Let that sink in. We are the receivers, okay? So it's our responsibility, and some women don't like to hear that word. They think responsibility is a cuss word along with submission, but that's the topic for another video. But they think that having responsibility of bringing a child, creating life into the world is the gentleman, we'll loosely say that, responsibility. And it's both of you guys' responsibility. However, God gave you your mind and your body. So it is your responsibility what we receive into it. So it is our responsibility. We have a choice. And I was somewhat involved in a conversation the other day with a young lady who just had a baby maybe about a couple of months ago. I won't give too many details just in case she's watching. So a couple of months ago, and then she was starting to say, well, I'm feeling kind of sleepy and I'm feeling kind of nauseated and I hope I'm not pregnant again. And my thought process, okay, if that is not what you want to be, okay, you just had one. Matter of fact, you're still healing. Science tells us we should wait at least a year or two, but there are some of us who be in the window before our 6-week checkup appointment. But anyway, and she made it seem like, oh, it's like a surprise. Oops, I didn't really want to, but okay. Like I said, there are a lot of steps that go into the box spring boogie, okay? There are a lot of steps beforehand before you decide to get there. And I encourage you ladies, don't even be in an environment where that can happen. When the sun set, okay, good night, sir. Have a good day. He don't need to be in your home. You don't need to be in his car late at night. You don't need to be at his place late at night cooking for a man that's not your husband, and being in an atmosphere where temptation can progress. Because like I said, the enemy doesn't come in, boom, kick the door in and be like, yeah, I'm going to make you a single mother. You're going to have a bunch of kids by a man who don't really want to take care of them. That's not how the enemy comes in. It's very subtle. And it seems like it's a relationship set up to become a situationship. And there are some of us who will allow those things to progress as if we had no choice in the matter. When God has given us all free will, he doesn't even force us to commit and submit to his will. So why should we attest that we have no choice in the matter of who we're in a relationship with, who we have children by, why we're stuck in a relationship, why we're stuck in a marriage? No, that is not true. We have choice over everything that's in our life, considering what God has allowed us. So we have a choice over who we allow to be a part of our life. You have a choice over your fingertips when they're texting someone's man that's not yours, or being in a situationship, being in someone's DM, being in someone's bed, hopping up and down in the sheets. We have a control over that. We have a choice over that, whether we're going to participate or not. And like I said, some ladies don't want to hear that. They feel like, oh, it's free will. I'm embracing my sexual side. Oh, sweetie, did no one ever tell you to love yourself first before you start expressing yourself and your sexual side? That's a side that not everybody is supposed to see. Despite what society has taught us and showed us, that's not for everybody to see. So you have a choice in the matter. And I encourage you ladies to choose you. Choose yourself. Choose to love yourself first. Like I always say, remember to love yourself first, because no one can do that better. Can't nobody outlove Selena like me outside of God the Father and the Son, Jesus Christ, who gave up his life for me. Nobody can. So if I'm not loving myself enough to be like, okay, is this the place I should be in? Is this the relationship I should be in? Because I talk about how I was in a very toxic marriage. And the decisions that led up there, I told you, had to do with me not being in my prayer closet. Not enough. And then once I realized, okay, it's either him or me. Somebody's got to go. Something has got to change. And when I was in my prayer closet, fasting and praying to figure out, is this going to work? Should I stay? And no. He was doing things outside of the will of God, outside of covenant. And for me, I had a choice. Am I going to stay in this highly toxic relationship where I'm suffering? And understand this, the devil comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So if he's killing my self-esteem, if he is destroying my hopes and my dreams, then that's from the enemy. Like I said, I call him DB, for the devil's brother, because he destroyed a lot of things in my life. Finances is one thing. You could always create more money. Make more money. So to me, starting over from scratch was very, very hard. It wasn't easy. And there are ladies who have a choice before you even get that far down the road, before you even make that decision, before you say I do and commit yourself to a person that's not going to be supportive. We have to be able to woman up and make the decision that's beneficial for us, beneficial for the purpose that God has for us. And don't misconstrue it and think that I'm saying be selfish, don't care about the relationship that you're in, don't care about the person, because when he is God sent, there is a level of reciprocity there. So it's okay to give and take, ebb and flow, as long as you both are walking in God's purpose. But when we know, and we do, that the relationship is no es bueno, and we stay anyway, and we're facing consequences and repercussions of those bad decisions, we have a choice to stop the relationship, to be like, okay, I may need to reevaluate this. And I'm not saying you just throw people away, But I'm saying you reevaluate to say, okay, some things need to change here. This is what I need to be able to open up and communicate to say, this is what I need. What do you need to make this relationship healthy so we both can be successful walking in our purpose with God? And if that's something that you can do, then work on it. But if it's not, you have a choice. So I encourage you to make that choice. Don't live your life sad and depressed and bitter. There are a lot of bitter women walking around because they're angry of the relationship that they're in, when they have all the decisions, all the choices to make a new one. And it will be hard, okay? Because that's what people say. Oh, I don't have a choice because it's hard. They do have a choice. It's just a hard one and they don't want to make it. The decision I made to step away from my marriage because it was so highly and toxic, it was not easy because it involved me moving almost an hour away from where I stayed. I had to pack up and move. There was a lot of things that was necessary for me to take, and it was not easy. It was very highly stressful. And it's by the grace of God that I'm saying. But it was necessary. But it was necessary with God's help. I could not do that on my own and without the prayers from my mother and other family members. But it was very much necessary. And like I said, it was hard. It was not easy, but I did it nonetheless. And you too can do the same thing. It takes being focused, being dedicated and submitted to God's will, and not being so captivated by a man who is not called to be your husband. Understand what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about just your husband that's God-centered, that's God called for you. I'm talking about somebody who's just going to waste your time, who you probably should have never gave your phone number to in the first place. But as I see this video getting lengthy, I encourage you ladies to make the decision to be in God's will. Make the decision every single day to get in your prayer closet, even if you have to start out with 5 minutes, but you have a choice over your life. Don't let life just pass you by and you wake up and you're in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, your 60s. There's some ladies in their 60s who are still getting played like a banjo in the backwoods of East Texas because they never learned how to love themselves and choose themselves and get in their prayer closet and not be getting played by a man who is not called to be their husband. But like I said, before I keep going and the video get any longer, remember to love yourself first because no one could do it better. Remember to check out my website, calmforsinglemoms.com, and thank you so much for watching.